We have a fun show planned surrounding Kyle Kuzma and a potential trade, but I need your help, Heat fans. I am very competitive, and you would know that if you watched our watch parties. But if you did not watch our watch parties, well, maybe you need to be subscribed. And it would also help us beat the Philadelphia 76ers in our May sub battle. We have 1 week to go in the month of May, so help us out. We trail by 39. Hit that sub button, and let's beat Philadelphia. I am Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. Happy weekend, everybody. But today's show, we're talking about this man right here, Kyle Kuzma, and if Miami and Pat Riley should make a play for the Washington Wizards forward. We talked a lot about Kuzma back in February before the NBA trade deadline as someone Miami could target. That was obviously before Terry Rozier came to the 305, but could we spin the block on Kyle Kuzma? Well, the rumors are coming out after Jake Fischer dropped this report late in the week. He said that Kyle Kuzma will be another advanced wing player on the trade market this offseason. Although Washington's asking price for the veteran scorer prior to February's trade deadline was too rich for most rival teams. So I have a couple thoughts on this. Well, one, yes, he was made available via trade back in February. We talked about him a lot, but it seems like they are willing to move off of him again as they go to a complete youth movement. They have the second overall pick. They have Denny Advia. They have Bilal Coulibaly. Could they move on from Kuzma to try to compile some other younger assets? Well, the Heat should jump on it if that's the case, because to me, he is a perfect fit in Miami alongside Jimmy and Bam, because he could slide in right into that power forward or that 4 spot, and he could honestly play small ball center. I know you guys don't want to hear that because you want the Heat to go big, and I do too, but he could if necessary, and he started a game at center for the Wizards against the Miami Heat late in this past season. And he did play pretty well for the Wizards in 2023, and the part that really stood out to me is how much he was able to get to the rim and score. Another part that really pleases me, at least, is that top number. Not even a statistic, but 70 games played. You saw Pat Riley call out some of his own players for not being available during this past regular season, a la Tyler Herro only playing 40 games, Jimmy Butler not playing more than 65. Like, he wants players to be available. And Kuzma proved that he can show up on a night-to-night basis, be healthy, and provide some nice scoring at 22.2 points per game. Sure, the three-point efficiency could use a bump up, but I believe he would have a better efficient season from beyond the arc because his shots would go down, being with Jimmy, Bam, Terry, and whoever else is on the roster, but also working with the Heat shooting staff, which is one of the best in the NBA. As I said just before, we showcased his stats. Like, he would be an elite 4 for Miami. This dude is damn near as tall as Bam Adebayo. Yes, you heard that correctly. So to pair those two up in the front court would be very, very enticing for not only Pat Riley and the Miami Heat, but for the fans that have been begging for this team to get a bit larger so they don't get beat on the inside by opposing teams that have either two bigs or just a plethora of wings. We talked about Kuzma's size. Well, here is his size. This is all, by the way, when he measured at the combine. This could have changed in terms of growing still because, you know, some people still do grow when they're going to 25. But Kuzma, without shoes, came in at 6'8" when he rang in at the combine in 2017. So it means with shoes on, he's about 6'9", 6'9 and a quarter. That's pretty damn good for a power forward. And like I said, Bam is 6'8 and 3/4 with no shoes, and he's about 6'9 and 3/4 with shoes on. So it's only about 1 inch smaller than Bam. Like, they are very, very similar in size. Kuzma's also got some good weight to him at 226. What was the, we could go back to the wingspan here, Reed, because he did have a pretty solid wingspan, which I've always talked about too, by the way. In my players, I like the wingspan. It was 7 feet and a quarter was his wingspan, by the way. At 6'8", that's a plus-size wingspan, and it allows Kuzma to be a nice little weak side rim protector, and that would be very helpful alongside Bam, right? Like, Bam is so good at rotating and switching on to opponents on the wing, on the perimeter, inside. Like, he can do it all, but you get Kuzma who could either help Bam if he has to switch and he has to take a quick center for a couple seconds or not. Kuzma would be a perfect fit on the defensive end as well as the offensive end for the Miami Heat. We're going to showcase some more numbers on why the Heat could acquire Kyle Kuzma and should be interested in him in just a second. But I'll ask you this question. And this is not should the Heat trade for him, would the Heat trade for him, would you trade for him? That's not what I'm asking. I'm just asking you if you think the Miami Heat and Pat Riley should be interested in Kyle Kuzma. Different type of question than we are normally asking. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Maybe you're typing your A's for absolutely. They should be interested in the services of Kyle Kuzma. And I don't know if you've been able to tell through the at least early portion of this video, but he would add some good size for Miami. But he would also create a fantastic scoring balance, right? Like he scored 22 points a game for Washington. That would actually be the highest number on Miami. They were well balanced last year. Jimmy averaged 21 and change. Bam averaged just under 20. Herro just got over 20. Rozier averaged about 20 for the season, but in Miami averaged 18. So you would have a well-balanced team, which has its ups and downs. Like, well-balanced teams usually play well in the regular season, which Miami needs to start doing so they don't have to play in the play-in every year. But it also does have its drawbacks in the postseason. But you would expect Jimmy Butler to take over in the playoffs. And when you look at what Kuzma could bring to the Heat's offense in terms of advanced shooting and some advanced metrics I want to look at, well, these actually paint a very nice picture that makes me even more excited about a potential fit with Kyle Kuzma and the Miami Heat. So when Kuzma gets to the rim, which he does a lot more than he does anything else, right? His most shot attempts come within 10 feet from the basket, 8.9 a game, 59.9%. That's very, very good. Like, that is a good number for Kyle Kuzma. It gets a little dicey here in the next two, the pull-up midi and the pull-up three. So not the best shot maker when having to put it on the deck and pulling up for a jump shot. When he puts it on the deck and gets to the rim, you see it's just fine. But 36 and 30, that's not ideal. The catch and shoot three is actually not that ideal either, if we're going to be honest, at 35.5%. You'd like catch and shoot three to be at least 37, 38 because, well, it's much easier to do. And when you're catching and putting it up, you're likely to get a much more open look. But when you look at these numbers, right, this tells you Kuzma was shooting about 19 shots a game for Washington a year ago. Well, half of them, actually more than half of them, came either at the three-point line or the rim. That is your modern NBA score, right? When you look, and if you watch college basketball, this has been starting to be preached at quite a bit. Shout out Nate Oates from Alabama. He spams this. He wants his players either taking threes or shots at the rim. He doesn't want mid-range shots. And Kyle Kuzma kind of embodies that. He's not afraid to take a mid-range shot, which is good. He's got to be capable, but he likes to either get to the rim and attack or just take a three ball. And that actually fits perfectly with Miami, right? Because Jimmy and Bam do like to live in the mid-range and within 15 feet from a basket. So if you've got Kuzma not trying to settle in that same area that Bam and Jimmy like to hang out in, well, that only creates more layers on your offense that makes it more difficult for opposing defenses to defend. And when I've been starting to think and look at what the Heat can do this offseason, right, it feels like Kyle Kuzma could be the perfect move for Miami if they strike out on a quote-unquote whale that they always hunt. Obviously, Mitchell is the number one option. It will always be my number one option for the Heat this offseason. Trae Young is up there as well because, well, he would be able to hold the burden of this Heat's offense in the regular season, and he would unlock a different level of Bam Adebayo on offense and a pick and roll. But I think Kyle Kuzma is right up there after D-Mitch and just maybe slightly behind Trae, honestly, like in terms of a player I'd like to acquire to try to improve this Miami Heat roster. Another reason why I would like to do this deal, I don't think it would cost too much. If we go back to Jake Fischer's report of saying it was the asking price from Washington was just too steep at the trade deadline, I think it was about 2 first-round picks is what they were asking for. I'll talk more about that and what he might cost in this offseason in just a second. But want to make sure you are hooked up with some Miami Heat gear in the form of this sweet-looking red polo. You can get it at chatsports.com/heatpolo. Running out of sizes, if we're going to be honest. We only have small, large, medium. I don't know why I went large after medium, but we got small, medium, large, extra large in stock. 2X, 3X, 4X, 5X, not in stock. So get yours today before they run out of stock in those other sizes. Chatsports.com/heatpolo. Links in the description and comments of today's video. All right, like I mentioned before, we had to talk about that sweet polo. Get it, by the way. It was 2 first-round picks at the deadline. That's what Washington was asking for the services of Kyle Kuzma. To be honest, rightfully so, right? Kuzma was in the middle of a career year in terms of points per game. The efficiency is not career-wise, but the points were. And when you are trying to make a deal at the deadline, you're obviously going to ask for more because the other GMs trying to call for Kuzma are more in a bunch. Like, just the demand for Kuzma is much more higher back in February before that deadline than it is now because there's so much time before he can't get traded anymore that it would cost less. So to me, you might think, well, what might it cost for Kyle Kuzma in a trade? I actually think it's not that much, and I think it would be between a first-round pick and a second-round pick. Said that wrong. One first and 2 firsts. Let's get back on track here. That was a disaster right there. But either way, I think it would cost between 1 first-round pick and 2 first-round picks in value. It wouldn't cost us 1. I don't think it would cost 2. Somewhere in that middle ground. So where does Miami come up with the package for that? Well, I think this is what you would look like if the Wizards are okay with this. Right? Obviously, they'd have to be okay with it. But Herro and a second-round pick for Kyle Kuzma. And you might ask, is that enough value? I think it is enough value. It would also be very dependent on how the Washington Wizards view Tyler Herro, because they tried the Jordan Poole experiment, right? They acquired him in a deal for Chris Paul after some trades. It was a crazy deal, right? They get Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole wasn't that good. And I don't think he's that good. And Jordan Poole has been compared to Tyler Herro in the past, but I think Jordan Poole is way worse than Herro. Herro's just proven to be more of an efficient player. Both have the same play style, yes, but Herro is better. So, to me, I do think this would be enough to maybe persuade Washington to accept. Tyler Herro's value is a first-round pick. Don't get it twisted. As much as Heat fans might dislike him, they would get a first-round pick if they just sold him to a team and didn't get a player back. They would get a first. So you trade Herro in a second, which comes to that middle ground in between 1 first-round pick and 2 first-round picks. I think it's enough. And let's just say Washington wasn't interested in Tyler Herro. Well, maybe you can call up the Brooklyn Nets or San Antonio Spurs, who have had interest in Tyler Herro, get them to send a first-round pick to the Wizards, and then there you go. You trade Herro to a third team, becomes a 3-team deal, and Wizards get the picks that they would want rather than Tyler Herro. But I actually don't know why they wouldn't want Tyler, because Tyus Jones is a free agent. Jordan Poole is their only lead guard. He stinks, and Herro would be able to mentor whatever wings they have in a Corey Kispert, a Denny Advia, Bilal Coulibaly, and whoever they take at number 2. I think it would actually be an interesting young core to watch on a nightly basis and see how they can blossom together. But this is a Heat channel, not a Wizards channel, so I want to know what the Heat fans think. Would you do this trade? Would you send Tyler Herro in a 2026 second-round pick? That's via the Los Angeles Lakers, by the way. Should have made that clear. For Kyle Kuzma, type A for accept or type D for decline. I think this one might be the one, folks. I really do, because obviously Donovan Mitchell is priority number 1. But if you have been with us on the channel, you would know that I've talked about how the Heat still need to trade Tyler Herro this offseason, even if it's not for an all-star, all-NBA type guy, because there just needs to be a vibe switch up and just needs to be a change in that locker room to move forward. A Herro, Jimmy, Bam, 6th time going at this, it's just not going to work. It hasn't worked for 5 years. It's gotten good success, but success in Miami is measured by championships, not finals appearances. They have yet to win, and it seems very evident they're not going to win. So this could be that lateral move where you don't give up a first-round pick. You just give up Herro in a second to get Kuzma, because the vibes would change in the locker room. I think he fits better in Miami, because think about this. You still have Terry Rozier in this potential hypothetical move, right? So you have a 18, 20-point per game scorer in the backcourt in Rozier. You have a good front court. And then that might allow Duncan Robinson to slide into the starting lineup, because the Miami Heat very, very good when Duncan Robinson started, and he was healthy in 2023. This could be the perfect opportunity and perfect trade to move Herro and get a player at least semi-close to value, not a complete upgrade, but still make some good changes to the roster. Another reason why I like Kyle Kuzma, it's actually his contract. Yeah, you heard that correctly. There's 3 years left on Kyle Kuzma's deal. This year and 2 years after that, it's actually depreciating in value every single year. It is not the most uncommon thing, but I would say it's more rare, it's more rare than you would find other contracts. Usually goes up every year. This one goes down $2 million every single season. And by the time 26, 27 rolls around, yeah, he's only getting paid $19 million. That's pretty dang good. And considering Herro is getting paid 29, 31, and 33, going up $2 million every year for the next 3, you save yourself quite a bit of money if you make this deal now and keep Kuzma as that 3rd/4th piece instead of Tyler Herro. That is why I think if you had to power rank moves Miami could make to improve this roster and improve their situation for the foreseeable future, at least as of now, because nobody else has come available, I think Kyle Kuzma would be my second choice. 1 will always be Donovan Mitchell for this offseason. You could try to argue Trae Young for number 2. I'm going to say I would rather do this specific trade for Kyle Kuzma rather than selling a little bit more on the house for Trae Young. I'm a big fan of Kuzma's game. I think he would give Miami size that the fans really want and they desperately need as well. So it's just an all-around win-win if you're asking me for the Miami Heat. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're talking all possible avenues for Miami in this offseason, trade rumors, draft rumors, free agency. We'll have it all. I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Go Heat.